Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your motherfucking host, Nicole, and we are back with another episode. And my God, it's been a motherfucking week. Sorry for all the swearing, but it's also been a morning for me. If you're watching this right now, I'm usually wearing hoodies. I'm wearing a fucking workout outfit because I was supposed to go to hot Pilates this morning, and I won't bore you with the details. I already did a rant on TikTok, but basically I missed class because an 18-wheeler locked me into a parking lot, and that was not how I wanted to start my morning. I really just wanted to go into Monday with a nice hot Pilates class, especially after last week and all the chaos. I literally saged my entire apartment and myself last night. I feel like I needed to sage myself again this morning because there's still some bad energy on me or something. I missed my class and I was like, okay, let's make lemonade out of this. I ended up just going to Trader Joe's and doing a whole haul, but I'm actually so happy because now I can just record for you guys this morning and whatever. So I just want to do like a few updates on Orlando man. I mean, I've already outed his name, Nick Mayhew. I'm not going to speak about him anymore on TikTok or past this episode, but I just want to like update the girls who are following along because I know honestly for a couple days this was my Roman Empire. Like my life's mission is to end this man, to ruin this man, to stop his antics. None of it's probably going to hit home or change how he acts or behaves, and he probably won't realize that he's in the wrong ever, or maybe for the next couple years, because he's the biggest narcissist I've ever met and encountered. But I will say after that episode came out, more girls did come forward, and all of them very similar stories, and it's just horrible to hear how he treated them. I am just actually traumatized. I didn't think somebody was capable of so many horrible things. I've never been like, I hate men. Like, I've been fucked over by men, but I've never been like, I hate men. This week, I hate men. Yeah, I'm beside myself. I was on the phone with one of them for an hour, and me and her were just like vibing, and she follows me on TikTok, and she was just like, I just can't believe this. And the things that she told me were absolutely horrific. He retaliated with a stupid TikTok on his own platform. It was like, want to play a game. And then it said that like I clogged his toilet or something. And I'm like, okay, that's a lie. So at least you're consistent. But Livy texted me. She's like, did you clog his toilet? And I was like, if I clogged his toilet, that would have been the first thing I told you. Like, I would have FaceTimed you when I was there, like panicking. There's no way. Whatever. So I was like, no, I didn't clog his toilet. But there's like no defense to that. I'm like, I'm just like, oh, I didn't clog your toilet. Like, it was actually really funny. Like, I was cracking up. But I was like, that is so immature to say that. Also, if you're comparing the fact that you manipulate and lie and love bomb like literally hundreds of women, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, I'm sure there's hundreds of women, because the fact that I've spoken to 10 in just a week, I can't even imagine the damage that you've done over the years. I was like, if that's the comparison to that, if that's what he thinks makes us the same, then fine. Like, if the worst lie that you can come up about me is that I clogged your toilet, I think I'm winning. I think I'm doing pretty fucking good at life. And then he was like, yeah, just living my life out here in Japan. I'm like, okay, I wonder what bitch is with you out there. She's probably absolutely horrified seeing all the stuff that's come through. Like, imagine, I can't. If I was with him and then I was like seeing a girl post and outing all this stuff on TikTok, I'd be like, who the fuck am I sitting next to? So I hope he stays in Japan forever. And then a girl who, I don't know if she knows him. I don't know why she felt compelled to make a video, but she like also responded to a video, and she was like, this girl wants to make like Nick Mayhew her entire personality. Like, that's embarrassing for her, honestly. She was like, just let it go. Like, blah, blah, blah. Stop talking about it. So what? This guy's talked to multiple other girls. I'm like, it's not just he's talked to multiple other girls. That's not a problem. It's his antics and how he's treated them and how he's done it to all these girls at the same exact time, made them all fall in love with him, and was spewing the same fucking story and web of lies and cheating on them. But I was like, that's besides the point. The fact that you now want to get involved, and I don't even know you, and I don't even know if you know him. And it's like, that's fucking weird. And you're the reason why men like this get away with this shit and think that they can do it. It's because your insecure ass can't handle standing up to a man, and you think it's cool to like be like, oh yeah, I'm so chill, go with the flow. No. Maybe she wanted to be girl number 11. I don't know. But you can have our leftovers, sis. Nobody wants them. And I think that's the funniest part of it all, is like all these girls now, like all these girls that he used to text and like keep on the hook, like now we're on a group chat and we're all texting. We all have each other. And I love these girls unconditionally. I haven't even met them in person yet. I FaceTime a few of them. I am just in awe at how wonderful these women are. And the fact that we are all some smart ass, intelligent, independent women, and this stuff happens to us too. Just goes to show that we are so compassionate and women are so loving and we're so forgiving, and rose-colored glasses are truly so real, and love can do crazy things to you. And you guys have seen me go through some shit with Gabe. If you've been here for a while, you know about him. That's somebody whose same thing, it was like very manipulative tendencies, such a narcissist, would make everything about him. He was always the victim. And he lied to me. He lied about his entire identity to me for nearly 2 years. And even though facts were hitting me in the face, I was at such a low point in my life. I had no esteem. I had no confidence. I was just in a really vulnerable state. I was really depressed. And he was somebody who, even though was so horrible to me, I held on to the hope that it would get better. And I held on to all the false narratives and pictures that he painted me and what our life was going to be like together. And even though he was so bad to me, I held on to those things because that's all I had. And I chose to look past so many red flags and so many horrible things just because I loved him. And I thought that that overrode all the negatives, but it didn't at the end. And I ended up sacrificing myself and my personality and my happiness and everything that made me me. And I lost myself in that. And it doesn't make me weak. He just caught me at a weak moment. And I picked myself back up and I learned from that. And that's why going into this with Nick, it was like I was starting to see signs that were triggering me and were giving me the same feelings that Gabe was giving me. And if I hadn't been through that experience with Gabe, I would have easily fell into that with Nick. And that's why some of these girls did fall into it with him for so long, because maybe he was their first experience with somebody like this. And when it's your first time experiencing somebody who's a narcissist, a love bomber, a gaslighter, all these things, you start to think you're a little bit crazy. Like there's no reason not to trust somebody that you love. And you want to trust them and you want to believe them, because that's easier than having to be like, wow, you're a fucking piece of shit, and walk away from something that A, you may have thrown so much time into, but B, that you really love and stood up for, that you wanted a future with. So some of these girls were really young, and some of them, it was their first time experiencing something like this. They didn't have that experience or whatever it was, or maybe they were at a low point in their life, or they just caught feelings for him really fast, which is completely valid, and he took advantage of that and they fell into it with him. It's really unfortunate that so many of these girls loved this man so much and he still didn't feel like it was enough, and he still had to terrorize so many other women to feel good about himself, and I don't think he ever will. I genuinely think he hates women, because to do this, you have to just be so fucking cruel and foul to do this to women and sleep at night. And that's the thing. I'm like, how do you sleep at night? And the only way I think he sleeps at night is because he lies to himself. I am now so grateful to have these women in my life. It's just such a pleasure to out this man. And I was really scared too. And I will say, this entire week, I was filled with a lot of anxiety. I didn't want to do this. I'm the type, I've done a lot of work on myself, and I also know that silence speaks volumes and taking the high road speaks volumes. Sometimes people deserve it and they need to be called out, and it feels really good to step into my power and do that and use my voice and raise awareness for not only the women who may be involved with him now or have been involved with him, and to validate them, but also for women who are experiencing this with somebody else or have experienced this with somebody else. Because getting out of a toxic, manipulative relationship with somebody who's a narcissist, a love bomber, a gaslighter, all the things, is really fucking difficult, because you will doubt yourself every step of the way, and it's gonna fucking hurt. And even though you know that this person is a piece of shit, it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make the love dissipate. It doesn't mean that everything that happened won't go away. Your memories, the good times, you're gonna hold on to those things. And that's what makes these things so hard, is because you're like, wow, at that time I really loved that person and I thought that they really loved me. And it makes you really not want to trust people again, and it hurts, and it makes you want to shove those things away. And sometimes it's a lot easier just to fall back into the situation with that person. And a lot of these girls were getting stuck in the cycle of falling back in with him, because what a love bomber does is they fill you with so much hope and they tell you all these things, and then they go ghost, and then they rip it all away from under you. And then you're feeling like, what did I do wrong? Did I doubt myself? How do I win back their love? How do I win back their trust? And it becomes this game, and then you are at their mercy. And a lot of these girls he would talk to and, do all these things with, and then he'd disappear. And it's because he's with another girl, or he's doing something else, or he's on Raya, or he's on Bumble, or whatever the fuck he is. He's doing something because he's selfish and he doesn't think about anybody else or anybody else's feelings. And then he comes back around and you let him back in because it feels good. Some of them have been in a cycle with him for a couple years, and it was like nonstop talking. And even though some of them had dated him and they'd broken up, he'd still reappear in their lives. And they let them back in because they never really had that closure, and they never had that validation. They had that self-doubt of like, is he actually lying to me? Maybe he wasn't so bad. It's just so sick. I'm so happy I made those videos and you guys supported me, and Livy encouraged me to do so because I feel so empowered now. I'm not gonna let anybody get away with this with me or any of you girls. And we all need to have each other's back, because if more people did this, if more people stood up and said something, we wouldn't have these guys who think they can get away with it. And I'm not saying you have to blast people on the fucking internet. If you have a platform, do it. If it's really horrible, honestly, do it. But don't be afraid to fucking stand up to these guys and miss out on them. And I say that in quotes because you're not missing out on shit, believe me. Call people out for their fucking shit, because at least then they'll respect you and you can walk away with your head held high. It might not change things, but I will say that you will feel empowered. And it will give you more confidence to walk away from things in the future. I hope that he gets kicked off of Team USA, truly, from the bottom of my heart. Usually I wish people like nothing but the best. I don't wish this man the best. I wish him the worst. And one day he'll look back on this, and I hope that he changes. I really do hope that something will land. No amount of anxiety, weird rumored TikToks made about me would make none of this worth it. Like, I would take all the anxiety all over again. I would do this all over again. I would fly to motherfucking Orlando all over again, match with this man on Riot all over again, post that TikTok all over again, 10 times over, because what makes it worth it is the fact that now these women have the closure that they need and are able to move on, and I helped them. That's worth it to me. That's okay, because when I was going through something like this, I wish I had someone to save me. I wish I had somebody who spoke up, and I wish I had somebody that warned me. It's really fucking hard to get over somebody like this. I'm just gonna read this message that one of the girls sent me last night. It's so weird because this whole situation makes me so sad. Sad for two year ago me, who was so in love with him, confused and upset and just torn up over him. This whole situation has made me finally close that door with him. I'm so thankful for that and you girls. I'm tearing up right now just thinking about that girl. I mean, and even up until February, I held on to some sort of hope. And it still even sucks now finding out that it was all a lie. I still don't know if that makes sense, but I've always had such a soft spot for him, and I feel like that's so silly to say, but I haven't been able to shake it off for so long, and all I can say is thank God this happened. To which I responded, it doesn't make it hurt less, but I hope that it helps you realize how much more you deserve and that your person will never treat you like this. You all were too good for him, and his rejection was truly your protection. It was never about you. He will continue to do this because he hates himself. And it doesn't sound silly. We all have that one guy who we all have the soft spot for. No matter what, you will always see the good in them. But I hope this shows you that you can't love someone to healing themselves or loving themselves, and you can't fix someone at the sake of your sanity. You can have love for him if you choose to, but I hope you have more love for yourself. He also missed out on 8+ incredible women who I now have unconditional love for, and I've known you all for less than a week. The fact that he couldn't see that just shows that he's scum of the earth. And that message is for any of you who have gone through something similar and no one's told you that, because you truly deserve better. And I can promise you the treatment that you're deserving from this person who's making you feel sick, who's making you feel anxious, who is making you doubt yourself is not your person, because your person will never make you feel like that. I want to take the opportunity now to talk about love bombing, because this is something that happens so fucking often, and it's something that we can easily spot and stop. Because I was able to kind of spot these signs, I really felt his disingenuousness. I had my alerts up. The red flags were waving and I was paying attention and I was observing. And with men like this, with men in general, listen to them, observe them, because they don't hide who they are. Really, they will tell you exactly who they are through their actions and the little things that they say. Love bombing works because it feels good. I get it. There's nothing better than when you meet somebody and they just give you everything. They're so affectionate and they're so complimentary and they're so complimentary. Is that a word? Complimentary? They compliment you so much and they want to talk to you all the time. And when you meet somebody, that's pretty, I don't want to say like normal, but it's like you obviously meet somebody, you're like on a high and you want to talk to them. That's not necessarily love bombing, but it is like that undivided attention thing, like suddenly attached at the hip. I'm gonna like just go through some signs and then kind of relate like my experience and why my red flags were getting raised and stuff. Just like to look up the definition of love bombing, because I think this is really good. I just Googled it. I was like, give me a definition for love bombing. Love bombing is a term used to describe when someone gives excessive attention, admiration, and affection at the beginning of a relationship to make the other person feel obligated or dependent. And I think that's so important. Obligated or dependent. It's like this person tries to guilt trip you into believing that you should be treating them that same way and you feel obligated. You owe them something. And that's what keeps you on the hook with them. They want to gain your trust really fast. They want to make it feel like you've known them for months or years already. Similar to like why you shouldn't spend like a really long date with somebody, or there's this theory that like if men take you to 3 places on the first date, that's essentially kind of love bombing. And I thought about this with Giraffe Man because he brought me to 3 different places on our first date. And when you do that, you feel like you've known this person longer. It essentially in your head feels like, oh, I've been on 3 dates with this person. There's a study on it where if a guy brings you to 3 places on the first date, there's a more likelihood that you will sleep with them. Like if you have a date that's 8 hours long, I don't necessarily think that's always a good sign. I think it's better to cut things off short. Somebody who is not love bombing you won't be afraid to take things slow. And that's why I think like if you're on a date with somebody and it's going really well and it's like, they're like, oh, do you want to go somewhere after this? Like you had just had dinner for 2 or 3 hours. There's no reason to keep going because you'll see them again. You got to take their game away from them. You have to play their game. So then that's when you say, actually, I had a really nice time with you. I just want to go home now and I'd love to see you again. And then they'll schedule something else. And I think if somebody reacts to that really negatively and they're like, oh, well, you don't like me that much, or, oh, what are you not having fun? Something like that. That's a bad sign. It's completely normal to not want to spend 3+ hours with somebody that you just met on a first date. It's completely normal to want to go home and digest that information and be like, okay, do I really like them? There's no reason why you need to spend 8 hours with somebody on a first date. People who love bomb, like I said, they're going to do a lot of extravagant things at the very beginning. This could be gifts. They could be sending you flowers. Listen, that stuff's nice, but if I haven't met you yet or we haven't been on a date yet, I don't really want you to have my address and I don't really want you to send me flowers because then I feel obligated to like you or something, and I won't. And there's been times like Giraffe Man sent me flowers. And as sweet as it was kind of like, whoa, this is like a lot. I haven't even gone out on a date with you yet. And as sweet as it is, like, I'm like, do I have like a lot of feelings for him? Because now I feel like he has a lot of feelings for me. And like, I don't know, like maybe I need to try harder or something like that. So like gifts could be a thing. A lot of compliments. Compliments are nice, but we don't need like compliments up the hoo-ha. Relax on the compliments a little bit because then it starts to feel disingenuous. Because like, how can I accept a lot of compliments from somebody who doesn't really know me, who really like, again, this is somebody that you just met. So it's like very surface level compliments or just saying things like, wow, you're so this, you're so this, and it's like, wait, you don't know me. So you can't say those things. Like, how am I supposed to believe those things to be true when you don't know me? Yeah, they are true. Like I am gorgeous, stunning, all these amazing things that you want to say about me, but you don't know those things about me yet. And you don't have the right to kind of compliment me on those things until we spend more time together, because there's nothing that feels better than a compliment than from somebody that you've known for a really long time, right? When they are able to compliment you. A compliment from a stranger sounds nice, but they're usually pretty surface level. Yeah. Like if they're throwing crazy compliments to you at the beginning, it's kind of like, what the fuck? No. Affection, a lot of affection at the beginning, communication, calling, texting frequently, like nonstop communication. If you're watching this, you're probably like, Nicole, why the hell did you change? Why is your hair wet? My thing died. So not that it matters. I just stepped out and then I came back, showered. So here we are. Also, guys, pardon my interruption. I can't believe I almost forgot about one of the most important announcements of today. And that is that this podcast is being sponsored by TLF. We have a sponsor, guys. And I love that it's one of my favorite brands, TLF. It's one of my favorite athleisure athletic wear brands. You can use my code TLF-NIKKID, NIKKID, to get 15% off. They are my favorite athletic brand. They actually just sent me so much stuff. So I will be trying that out. I'm going to be doing a try on haul for YouTube. So I'll post it all there. It's just the best brand. It's just so comfortable. It's soft. It just hugs you in all the right places. I've never had a problem with any of their stuff. They also have anti-camel toe technology. So I feel like that's something that me and a lot of girls struggle with, is like, you know, you can see the little lips while you're working out, and sometimes you don't want to see the lips in the mirror. So I love their stuff. You guys should try them. I'm sure a lot of you have, because you always see me wearing them. This is not just like a one. I'm always wearing TLF, so I earned this sponsor, bitch. So check them out. And yeah, okay, back to the podcast. So we're going to continue the conversation about love bombing. It sucks to go into dating, or it sucks to like have that assumption that when somebody does something nice to you, they're love bombing. Like, you don't want to like have that guard up, because people do really nice things, and sometimes it does work out for these people who just, when they know, when it's like really intense, really heavy early on, and it's like even before you meet the person, I think that's when you're kind of like, okay, well, let's take a step back. And you don't have to be mean about it. Like, if someone is asking you to do something extravagant, like I think like love bombing, they'll kind of want to paint a picture in your head what your life could be like, because that'll make you hold on to the hope. Like, that'll make you hold on, because in your head now you're already in a relationship with this person almost, when they're like, I hate when I am talking to somebody and we're making small talk, let's say like on a first date or something, and they're like, where do you want to go? And I was like, oh, like if I was like, oh, I really want to go to Greece, and they're like, oh, we can go to Greece. That to me is like love bombing. That to me is like, don't say that because you don't know me. And also, like, we probably won't go to Greece. I think when somebody is wanting to do extravagant things for you, or just like be over the top with you, or just do too much too soon, I think is something like good to kind of reel them back in, and then to see if they're love bombing you or not, is to kind of be like, that would be really nice, but maybe that's something that we can circle back to. Or if someone tries to like wants to give you something really extravagant, I would just be like, that's like a really big gesture, and I just can't accept that right now, but I would love to, you know, accept that down the road, or explore that down the road. Something like that to kind of throw them off, because then they're going to be like, oh, okay. The love bombers aren't really in it for the long game. They're in it for the short game. I've definitely experienced that with a lot of guys, where they'll be like, let's do this together. We'll be like planning trips together and stuff, or saying they want to do certain things. Like, even when I was just with Orlando Man, he said something like, oh, would you want to come to Japan with me? And I was like, I literally just met you. Like, no. And he was like, oh, well, how about Norway? And I'm like, no. Even though he may not have been that serious, and that's, again, what love bombing is. It's like, there's not always going to be a lot of follow through with that. It was still him like putting this idea in my head. And for some, like a guy or somebody like him, he'll probably be like, that wasn't me love bombing. It is, though. That is love bombing. Love bombing is when you're going to say these extravagant gestures, because then I'm like, damn, like, wow, like if he's inviting me away, like he must really like me, you know? So if they're like inviting you to weddings, if they're inviting you to stuff like that, but there's no like really set plan, and you also don't really know them that well, that's love bombing. Sharing personal details really quickly, or also just being like, I feel so comfortable with you. No one's ever made me feel like this before. You're like nobody I've ever met before. Stuff like that is love bombing, because you don't know me that well. You shouldn't be that comfortable with me. Your red flags should be up. That's somebody who's trying to make you think that they are like almost exclusive with you, or committed to you, or like you're something so unique and so different. That is such like a bold thing to say when you've just met somebody. And it's a way to make somebody also feel like comfortable with you, because you're thinking, oh, well, if this person already feels so comfortable with me, I should feel comfortable with them. Like, that's what you're thinking in your head. And you're also just kind of like, oh, wow, like I'm making this person feel different. Like they must really like me. You just don't say that to somebody. That's just not normal. When I was just away with Orlando Man, him saying to me, I've never felt so comfortable with you before, my red flags went up immediately. And I was like, oh, like I didn't say it back. I wasn't like, I feel so comfortable. Like I was like, oh, like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, he's probably said that to so many other people. That is such like a love bombing thing to say when you first meet somebody. Just keep an eye out for things like that. Somebody who's like almost saying all the right things, like saying all the things that you want to hear. Oh, I want a girlfriend. I want a wife. I want this. I want that. I have been with so many people, or like, again, Orlando Man, I'm just bringing it back to him because this is my most recent experience. Him being like, oh, if I had a girlfriend, they would do that. Or if I had a girlfriend, like I wouldn't have to worry about that. Or this would just be so much easier for me. I really want a girlfriend type of thing. That is love bombing. Because then in my head, I'm thinking, wow, this guy wants to date me. He must be really serious. So then I'm letting my guards down quicker. But my guards went up, honestly. But like, because I've experienced this before, and your guards should go up. And listen, I still fucking went. He made the big grand gesture of flying me out there. That's a big gesture. Hey, and again, it was only an hour, but some guys fly girls out really, really far. And if you're going to go see a man, absolutely do it on his tab. But that's a big gesture. And you kind of feel like, okay, I'm flying to this man, like this must be something, or like I owe him something type of thing. A love bomber is going to almost like pressure you to commit really early on. They're going to like want exclusivity with you really on, or make you feel that way really early on. And they kind of want to like isolate you a little bit. I feel like they're like really clingy. They're really, really like consistent at the beginning. Like a lot of talking, a lot of FaceTiming, a lot of phone calls, maybe a lot of good morning texts. Listen, I love a good morning text from a guy that I am dating, that I am like pretty much exclusive with, still exploring, maybe not boyfriend or girlfriend, but not really talking to other people. That's okay. I expect like, you know, good morning, hey, how are you? Or a phone call every day. But when I'm getting that from somebody who I am very new to meeting, and they're texting me all throughout the day or calling me all throughout the day, that's a little bit much. That's not normal. We want somebody who's consistent, but when it's a lot, you'll know. When it's too much, you will know. This is actually like a phrase, like when they say, okay, something feels off, like something feels different. It triggers my fight or flight. So if you allow the behavior really early on, and you're like feeding into it, and you're talking to this person nonstop, and then they say, well, something feels off because you maybe didn't answer them for a couple hours, or you just took the afternoon to yourself, or maybe you had plans and you were out with your friends, something of that sorts, and they say that, it's almost like, no, nothing's off. I'm just normal. I'm living my life. I'm also independent. I have stuff going on. You're not my entire world. And they almost try to like guilt trip you into thinking that you owe them something. This is somebody that you're not dating, right? Like that you owe them something. Something feels off. Something feels weird. Okay, we're not in a relationship. I don't owe you anything, right? If you are just talking to somebody casually and they're like, something feels off, it's like, no, nothing's off. But I know like if you are susceptible to getting love bombed, like if you are intertwined with this person, you're kind of going to be like, oh my God, like, no, I'm so sorry. What I do? No, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are we talking about like, I miss you this, I miss you that, calling, whatever, that early on? No, you're not boyfriend, girlfriend. Another thing is like pet names, like really early on. Baby is like intense. So if they're like immediately calling you all these like pet names really early on, like first time you meet them, second time, that's a red flag for me. I'm like, okay, so you just call everybody baby? You're just calling everybody baby. So A, you don't mix up names, but B, like you're just saying that because it makes you feel something. Like if somebody calls me baby, like my pussy drops a little bit. Like I get a little tingle. Like if it's somebody I like and they're like baby, I'm like, oh my God, you just call me baby. Like you have to earn that. You have to earn the right to call me baby. You know, I'm not your fucking baby. But it does feel good, so I get it. Like, it does feel good. Like, when the right guy says baby to you, you're like, no, like, I'm getting excited just thinking about the right guy, like, saying baby to me. Like, it's hot, but it's like, I don't want a guy who I've known for a week to call me baby. Okay, so then how you know it's love bombing is when they suddenly withdraw. It's like the rug gets ripped out under you. They're really cold. And then you're like, well, what the fuck just happened? It's like your world just gets like spun around and you're just like, what? This person was just up my ass, calling me baby and doing all X, Y, and Z for me. And then now I haven't heard from them. And now this is when, if you have a secure attachment and you're secure in yourself, this is when their true colors are going to show. Because if they do that and you kind of are like, that's weird. Let me like take a step back and allow space to see how this person comes back in. And they're going to probably make up an excuse and be like, well, that's not true, whatever. A lot of the times you just have to like allow space for the love bomber. Time will tell. If they're love bombing you for 2 years, then they actually probably like are just somebody who makes grand gestures and you're dating them. You know what I mean? Like a love bomber is like gonna like do all this stuff to like get your trust to the point that you feel like you're exclusive with this person. And almost to the point where like I felt like, okay, I have to love bomb back. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like when he was like love bombing me with certain things. And I like still hadn't met him at this time. And I knew he was going on a trip. I was like, oh, like maybe I'll watch your dog while you're away. He was away for 10 days. What the fuck was I on? haven't even met this man yet. I'm offering to be his fucking babysitter and watch his dog as if it's my own. What the fuck, Nicole? And I took a step back and then he was like, oh my God, like really, would you do that? And I was like, well, let's see how things go when I meet you. Cause I was like, what the hell did I just do? Did I just love bomb you? Like sometimes I feel like because they're giving you so much like love, attention, whatever it is, you feel like you have to reciprocate. And then you're like stuck in this sticky position where it's like, why does it feel like I've been dating you for 1 year and I've known you for 2 days type of thing? So I kind of like have to check myself too. And I think the only way, if you're seeing signs that somebody's love bombing you, call them out. And don't say like you're a love bomber, you're this or that. I would just be like, oh, like that sounds like something that, you know, I would really enjoy in the future. Or maybe we could do that in the future together. You know, maybe we could circle back to that. Or like that just feels like a lot right now. Or maybe you just ask them for some space and be like, hey, like I love how consistent you are, but I can't talk to you this at these times or whatever it is. And somebody who's normal will understand that. You know, if you tell them like, hey, I want to take things slow, that we're moving a little bit fast, I want to take things slow, that's normal. Somebody who's not love bombing you won't have a problem with that. If they're love bombing you, they're probably gonna freak out and they're gonna be like, what are you talking about, blah 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 blah, and they're gonna be an asshole. Love bombing's awful. It's just like, it happens to all of us. And it doesn't make you a bad person or stupid if you fall for it, because it feels good. And the person who's doing it to you is trying to emotionally manipulate you. And it's like emotional abuse, honestly. They are just trying to control you. So to take back the control, you have to beat them at their own game and do, you know, the things that I just previously said. I actually really like what this says. The love bombing ensures that when they begin to abuse you, may it be emotionally, verbally, physically, and or sexually, you feel loyal and committed to them to the point you question yourself instead of them. There were so many times when I had been experiencing this in my past that I doubted every part of myself. Like, it makes you doubt what's normal and what's not. Like when somebody is acting a certain way towards you and they're really wanting to move quick and they're, you know, making these grand gestures, so complimentary and like so affectionate and so much attention from them. In my head, I kind of started to think, well, is there something wrong with me? Like, do I forget how to be a good partner? Do I forget what a relationship feels like? Am I not emotional enough? Am I not this enough? Am I actually not paying enough attention to them? Should I be doing this for them because they're doing it for me? Like, it really makes you question everything you know about yourself and relationships. If your gut is saying things are weird, things are off, they are. And to trust that. Nobody is gonna love bomb somebody who they genuinely see themselves with in the long run. I think people who love bomb move really fast. They want to feel validated really fast, and they want to gain your trust really fast. They want to gain your affection, and they want to gain the power in the relationship really fast. Oh my God. Wait, I just looked up some love bombing statistics. 70% of people have had a partner say, I love you within the first month of seeing each other. That's insane. 52% of women have felt pressured to have sex with a romantic partner who have love bombed them. See, that's what it is. A lot of times the men, you know, their end game is just to have sex with you. And they think if they do all these things, affectionate things that make you think, oh, like this person's gonna date me. Because a lot of times, like women, at least, I mean, if you're looking for a relationship, like you kind of want to hold off on that. At least for me, it's like, I don't want to just have sex with every person who comes my way. Newsflash. So if like I feel like we're exclusive or like almost dating, like, yeah, I'm gonna have sex with you because I gotta, take test drive that thing before we commit. But I think like guys will love bomb to get to that point and then pull away as soon as they get what they want. And God, dating is so fucking hard and scary. Like, you really can't trust motherfuckers anymore, honestly. But the whole thing is like, just be aware of the signs, because not everybody is a love bomber, but we can be aware of it and we can stop it and we can catch it early. You shouldn't be afraid of like people's affection and stuff like that. I think like in your gut, you'll just know when something's off and when something's wrong and when you need to take a step back or take things slower. So that's pretty much like everything I have to say on love bombing. I hope this was at least a little bit helpful. I feel like I got a little derailed after I like came back after my morning and came back and showered. I'm like, I don't really know where I left off, but I hope this was helpful. I love you guys so much. Make sure you leave a review, leave me 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, like and comment. I love seeing you guys in my YouTube comments. It makes me happy. And that's pretty much it. I hope everybody has an amazing week, and I will see you next week on Girl Therapy. I love you.